Put down your phone.
I'm trying to tweet the episode. I'm telling people about us.
Good morning. Ed is tweeting the episode. I actually haven't had a chance to see the episode yet. Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of SJU. Super Bowl was yesterday. Most of us are hungover. I think I'm the only one that wears it well. Good morning. I look amazing.
You do.
Oh God, we're going to talk about some all of the commercials that came out yesterday, where there were so many trailers and commercials and other things. Before we start, this is very important.
Okay.
Before we get started, it is Black History Month.
Yeah.
It is February. And so later we're going to do a thing that we do where we talk about we talk about characters that we love. But first, in honor of Black History Month, every day that I'm hosting, y'all gonna do something about them elbows. I'm bringing out lotion. This is the Black History Month moment. Everybody, put some lotion on your elbows.
Meanwhile, Ed and I both have our elbows completely covered up.
Yeah, no, and that's how I know they're the roughest.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Ed, you don't have to. You're exempt.
Crazy
Well, no, I'll put some on my knuckles because that ashy knuckle is a bad look.
You don't want ashy
It's
knuckle.
a bad look.
So yes, in honor of Black History Month, I'm making sure that everyone's knuckles and elbows are well taken care of.
Who says Black History Month can't be for everyone?
It's
See, we all a rising tide raises all ships.
Rising tide raises all boats. Segment number 1, MCU Disney, and you're not exempt. MCU Disney and show previews. During the Super Bowl, we got our first look at Marvel's upcoming Disney Plus series, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, plus WandaVision and Loki. We all got a chance to take a look at these. What did y'all think?
Well, I've been saying as I'm rubbing this mineral lotion into my knuckles.
They say alcohol is a social lubricant. I say nay. I think this is the social lubricant.
Hand cream.
Yeah.
Oh no, but what I was going to say is that I've been saying for a while that I think WandaVision is the one of these shows that I am the most excited for, and this
really
little
good.
teaser did nothing to change my mind about that. In fact, it only reinforced the fact that I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I think the show is going to be weird and dark, even though it's like a comedy and a sitcom. It's going to be a black comedy.
Well, and just something that can take on not only just Marvel tropes and all that stuff, and not just TV tropes, but like media in general. I think it's her relationship to media and her trying to get her mind right using examples from media.
It's like, I don't know if you ever watched American Gods. But one of the things that I only watched the first season of the show and was advised that was a wise decision. Maybe there are people that disagree, and I love if you disagree. That's just, again, what I've heard from people that I know and trust. But one of the things that I thought they did extremely well was characterizing the character of Media, who was played by Gillian Anderson, and she was amazing. And I get like a little bit of that vibe from the WandaVision show, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, Gillian Anderson, by the way, could be in it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Every time I watch Gillian Anderson in something, I go, why is she not in everything? Like, she's due for a Laura Dern type revolution. Because I would have said the same thing about Laura Dern, but now Laura Dern is in everything. So, for your consideration, Gillian Anderson.
We know you like the sex. Sorry, we know you like the sex education. Like, it's a good.
Oh, I was like, what's happening? You're like, I know you like the sex scenes, Joe, and I was like,
Sex education.
yeah, no, she's awesome in sex education. I'm hoping this is as weird as we're hopefully building it up to be. I really am. I hope they're not kind of like shaking some weird keys at us so that we're like, yay! I really hope it gets as weird as it can. Again, I'm still calling my shot. I think Scarlet Witch is the big bad of the next phase.
I actually think you're right. Mm-hmm.
She lost her brother. She lost her boyfriend,
and they haven't talked about it. No one has. No one's addressed it.
Yeah.
Nobody has time for your trauma, lady.
Yeah.
No time for trauma, Dr.
Half
Jones.
the universe died, and we brought them back. But sorry, none of your people though.
Right, and it's just like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
I'm a hero. I'm not even Thanos. I'm just another of the heroes.
Right? Yeah.
It's that things happen.
But no, you're right. And I think the world's already pissed off at her, probably because of Sokovia. Like, just because you wiped a purple guy and his alien friends out of New York once doesn't mean everyone's like, she's cool now. Like, everybody's ledger sort of unless the movies sort of like take the the slates are all clean. Like you still people are still going to remember that stuff. So the world doesn't like you that much. But yeah, I like the idea of what if one of the most powerful? How does one of the most powerful women in the world deal with her trauma?
Right.
And this is like a really, really cool way of doing it. I do think we'll get a Kick-Ass. I think Kick-Ass will show up in here. Kid that played Quicksilver. What's his name?
Oh, yeah. The Godzilla kid.
Yeah, Godzilla kid.
Aaron Tyler Johnson.
Aaron Tyler Johnson.
Yeah.
I knew it was 3 names that started with Aaron.
Taylor
Johnson.
Tyler. Negligible.
I do think he shows up, though.
I do think he shows up.
And I do think it would be interesting, if we're going to dive into her reality warping stuff, like, that's an interesting way to bring Quicksilver back if she snaps her brother back into existence.
Again, I don't want to be that person that's like, here's how the mutants get into Marvel, but here's how the mutants.
I don't want to be that person. I was thinking the exact same thing, especially if we're going to go the route of her being the next villain in the MCU, which I'm fully in support of. Like, come on.
I could be wrong. And I'm probably wrong.
Mutants got into Marvel because Marvel ran out of ideas. And they were like, mutants. That's all you need.
No, you don't need anything else.
No.
They just are born.
But also, here's how you get the mutants into Marvel. It doesn't have to be, and in fact, I would rather you do that. I would rather it be that thing where it's like,
does she say yes, please, mutants in this show, and it's just the opposite of no more mutants?
Yes.
Well, that's I was going to say not more mutants. It's like some more mutants.
Mutants. Just my brother. Oh no, all these other mutants.
Or she sees like a honey badger tackling a snake, and she goes Wolverine, and she dies, and then like Wolverine is born like out of a seashell, like the Venus with claws.
And honestly, truly, I would rather it just be one of those things where it's like, well, Earth is ready for more superpowered people because Thanos done showed up in Wakanda, and we clearly need more people, and so evolution does evolution's thing. I would rather it be that.
Well, but also,
probably how we're getting mutants.
Evolution picking who gets powers, as random and chaotic as that is scratching my egalitarianism itch. Ooh. You know, I got one. You know what I mean? My for lack of a better word, my platform of redistribution of power. And I really
it looks extra good when you're wearing that button-down shirt when you say things like that.
Oh yeah, well, I'm trying to be on CNN. But I just think that basically. Yeah, that thing about like that could be how the chaotic nature of power distributes. Because right now, who's got the powers? Look at who has the powers. It's the same person who has the powers all the time.
Your Xavier needs to be Bernie Sanders?
It's like,
we've got to get these superpowers away from these millionaire and billionaire Avengers into the hands of the people. Mine isn't as good as Dan's.
Millionaire and billionaire Avengers. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. You see.
True.
So that's I think that's a kind of. That could be the mutants' point, that it isn't under our watch. They had a crap fit when there was 7 of them running around with powers and they couldn't watch them every damn second. Well, now every 4th kid has it. Good luck with that, guys. You know what I mean? And how that changes the world and how it gets everybody's mind off the fact that they lost 5 years. You know, or lost their level. You know what I mean?
Is that suddenly Flash Thompson is mutant or whatever they do?
Oh, that version of Flash Thompson being a mutant would be
I do want
hilarious.
That would be really funny. Also, Owen Wilson's in Loki.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
You just sound like cats.
It always goes back to
I only want to sound like cats forever. Wow. I do sound like cats.
You do sound like cats.
Do you think Loki and Wanda get together, and not in regards to like, hey, standing next to each other and doing things, but like both of those things being used to explain how magic works in the universe or the quirks of like all this power that's going around? Because I think Loki's like, I'm gonna tear your playhouse down, I'm gonna rip it up, baby. You know, he's doing that Max Cady getting out of prison jazz, like, I was studying to be a lawyer. You know, like he spent his time in the can getting smart or whatever, or like, and him finding out his death was basically because he tried to be a good guy. Like, imagine this Loki figuring out, wait a minute, I died trying to speak truth to power like some dumbass? Oh, hell no. I want to be crazy.
Dang. Yeah. I like that take a lot, and I don't know if that's necessarily what's going to happen, but I am for it.
Yeah, well, that was a transcript, so.
No, we're in like a weird, trippy, like, not only was this trailer trippy, but also we're in like a weird, trippy mood. It's after the Super Bowl. We're all kind of hungover. I might still be drunk. We're good. Speaking of Super Bowl trailer roundup, we got a lot of really good movie ads. I really did a good segue there. So we got Mulan, which, I'm sorry, Mulan is going to be dope.
Okay, let me tell you a little something about Mulan that Ed and I were talking about before we went live. So I've been on board with Mulan since there was a poster. Like, legit, I am 110% in on Mulan, and I don't like Disney live action films. I don't like them. I think that they are a cash grab, and they are a waste of time and money.
This one seems different.
This one looks like a historical drama, and I am here for it because I love me some good Asian historical dramas. But specifically, what Ed and I were talking about was the trailer that they showed before The Rise of Skywalker. So I originally saw Rise of Skywalker at a screening, so there were no trailers. But then I saw it, in the regular theater. And
in the wild.
In the wild. In the wild with the masses. And
with actual humans, right.
And like, listen, guys, I'm not trying to hate on Rise of Skywalker, even though y'all know that I was mediocre on the film. I cried more at the Mulan trailer than I did in the whole film, The Rise of Skywalker. So, like, sign me up for Mulan. I'm here. I can't wait.
Yeah, super Patrick Swayze and Ghost ditto on that one. I was up in there doing a little lip trembling and jazz, like, she's gonna go fight for her dad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold it together.
You can't hold that sword.
I don't need music. I know everyone was like, we need music. We need Mushu. Where? I don't need it. It exists. Have that version.
Yeah.
This is the first one where I really feel like they took the source material and they were like, we can just do it. You don't have to have Mushu. You don't have to have music. You don't have to have, like, just do the material. And I'm so excited for it.
This might come as a shock to people, but Disney is not the only company to ever interpret Mulan for the screen.
Your face.
I know. But there's a whole, like, folk tale, basically, that it's based on from Chinese lore. So go back to that and just do that. Like, the basis of the story is going to be the same, which is this young woman signs up for the war because she doesn't have any brothers, and if her father goes to war, he's going to die. I mean, they literally address that in the trailer. It's so beautiful, and I'm excited to see. I've heard that the sister is a lot more involved as well, and I mean, it's not like the music from the Disney film isn't present. It is present. It's just
in those, like,
orchestration.
It'll be in the score.
Beautiful scores.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and honestly, it's just so heartwarming. You know what I mean? Like, it was so, like, life affirming. It's like, when like a Labrador donates his kidneys to a Make-A-Wish kid or something. You know what I mean? It was like, like,
but there's also, I think that's the thing. No, what I was going to say, though, I don't know what you're talking about.
We know how kidneys work. That's fine. That's not our job.
Hey, it was God's plan.
God's plan.
or
Talk about Falcon Winter Solider before you move on to, because it's in the stuff.
I have more. No, I'm not done.
Yeah, we're still talking about Disney, Ryan, okay? Disney owns everything.
Ryan is producing. He's doing a very good job. Thank you, Ryan.
I was thinking Dog's Journey, not God's plan. But you know what I'm saying. You got it.
All right.
But we did have, thank you, Ryan. We had, so that was the longest of the ads. It was 2 minutes, which was amazing. We also had 30-second ads for Fast and Furious 9, Black Widow, SpongeBob 3, No Time to Die, which actually sold me on that movie more than I had been sold on it before, Quiet Place 2, Top Gun 2, Invisible Man, Sonic, Minions, The Rise of Greer.
Well, let's talk Falcon and Winter Soldier before we jump into the other ones. Just group our Marvel together. The Tom Clancy corner of the Marvel universe. That and Black Widow.
I don't know when Sebastian Stan became Solid Snake, but I'm here for it. I'm sorry, he looks like Solid Snake.
He does look like Solid Snake. And you know what? I feel like that is on brand for what this show is going to be. Like, give me Sebastian Stan sneaking around in a box. Soldiers with exclamation points over their heads.
I mean, we didn't get a ton of shots, but like, it looks like they're parading U.S. Agent around at games and stuff like that, and we've talked about it a little bit, but just little hints of like the idea of. Steve Rogers was Captain America because he was his own man. He didn't represent the Fed. He represented like the ideal version of what the country could be, and operated independently as such. And I love the idea of who does that belong to now that Steve Rogers is gone. And so. Yeah, just the idea of like them rolling out, hey, it's U.S. Agent or Captain America or whatever it is they're gonna, be calling him, and he's kissing babies and leading parades, and he's showing up at halftime shows with marching bands, and
probably doing SNL.
Yeah, yeah. We've got a great show. Halsey's here, and then he throws the shield. I just think that this looks. I think this is going to be really, really cool. And Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan have such good chemistry. Just the little moments that they've had in the Cap series so far, you're kind of like, they're small, but it's like, oh yeah, let's build on that. And I think someone must have seen those little moments and been like, yeah, that's how we go. That's the
and watching Anthony Mackie like practice with the shield,
it's very heartwarming.
Guys, I want to hear all of your being discovered by someone. Exclamation point noises.
When you're trying to sneak around in a box.
Trying to sneak around in a box.
My box
Don't the guards notice you.
That's your box noise.
That's my box noise.
Emma? Oh, that's a good one. Ed?
It's like,
yours is very,
that's good.
Yours is very chill.
Yours sounds like
very chill.
like something just popped out of the toaster.
yeah. It's like, it's ready. Yeah, that's my thing. But
because when bagel is in pizza, you can have pizza anytime.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, no. I to elaborate on Joe's point, I've said my piece about why I love the Clancy verse, the dad spy movie verse, the Ludlum novel section of Marvel. I love all that. I'm a mark for it. The street level, the bunch of elbows and knees and the fighting, little wide shots to see what the Tony Jaa type jazz is going on in the fights. I love all that stuff, but it really is about them positioning Hawk dude, fly guy, Falcon, Falcon and Winter Soldier as these underdog dudes who are almost holding the ancient scrolls, while everybody else goes, this is the new religion, praise this new one, we got this new ha-ta-ta-ta-ta. They got all this ha-ta-ta-ta-ta, and they're in a big mega church espousing a version of the scripture, as it were, whereas these dudes are just lonely prophets walking the road like Kane to Kung Fu, with the actual knowledge base of what Steve was about, and these other people have corporatized what Steve might not necessarily have been about.
Yeah, and
I love that thing.
But like the idea, the Falcon has done everything right. He's done everything that I think someone would need to do to earn the shield, right? Even before he knew Steve, he was a decorated war veteran. He was saving people.
Also helping other war veterans. He had
exactly. Like he didn't go join Blackwater or something like that. He went in and started helping vets and doing therapy groups and stuff like that, and joined the Avengers.
Which hits me really hard because that's what my dad does now.
Right? Oh, yeah. But I just think there's something interesting of like. You're not our pick, so no matter like how many boxes you tick, you're not our pick, and I just think it's such a easy home run of a story to be able to tell. I'm excited about that show.
And just like last things last, a hero or maybe two heroes with imposter syndrome. Because they've seen what amazing sacrifice and heroism looks like, and they have to embody that for this new section, and then maybe they don't know intrinsically if they can do it, and that's a question that gets answered over the course of the episode.
Which is also a really great juxtaposition up against somebody who is being put forward as this is your new savior now, this is the symbol of your country, and that being a person that basically buys into his own false mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Super sick.
And then also they become family, which is also a huge thing about Black Widow and her talking about like, hey, like I've had another family, like this is my new family. And I know again, you love this version, you love like this corner of the Marvel Universe.
This is my Ford versus Ferrari section of the Marvel Universe.
If Ed was a dad, this would be his dad section. So what did you wind up thinking about all the new stuff we got to see from the Black Widow trailer?
Like I said, I am a Taskmaster mark as well. I love people who learn because I don't. Obviously, I come on here and say mean stuff about Star Wars and Joker and stuff. I obviously don't learn. I can't learn. And I'm like Memento for hot takes. But I love this section of the universe. I was talking to you guys about how Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
And effortless charisma. I don't want to get in trouble, but I think there's an alternate universe where she plays Captain Marvel and she does a great job. Not trying to start that fire.
No.
I ain't trying to start that fire, okay? I didn't start the fire. I'm just saying.
But she could have played that part.
Ooh, because I think she could get that nice little steely, I'm about to get up in this plane and you can't stop me. I think she could do that, and I think she could do the, awakening power. I think she could do that so good. Ooh.
She's a very good actress.
There's an alternate universe out there where everybody has goatees, and she's got the Marvel.
And you are clean shaven.
Yeah. I got an afro in that one. I'm thin. It's horrible.
This has been an Ed wants to see Florence Pugh in more military cut clothing moment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, let's reboot Alien.
She can play Ripley.
Yeah,
she can play
Sarah Connor.
She can play everyone from Three Kings.
We Three Kings is stealing the gold.
So yeah, I just love that. I'm a mark for that stuff. So maybe I'm not the best person to ask, but I do like the way that they're just last things last. They're keeping these people's abilities impressive.
Yeah.
Well, the stuff that they're doing looks cool, even though they're not flying around.
I think too with Black Widow, you are. Again, whatever your feelings on certain things Scarlett Johansson may or may not have said are, we're looking at 2 Academy Award multiple, because Rachel Weisz is in it also. Like, I've got a lot of Academy Award nominated actresses in this film.
Pretending to be Russian spies.
Yes, but that I think adds. Again, because we are dealing with, as you say, sort of the Tom Clancy verse. These are people that don't have superpowers. They're just highly skilled at what they do. And so
What's
there
that
is
like?
this slight grounding in reality, and you're bringing these actors to the table who can, sell the reality of, we don't have superpowers, but we're, super dope at everything humans.
Yes, absolutely. Those are really good takes. Thank you so much. And also, this is the part of the show where I thank all of you for liking, subscribing, supporting everything that we do. So we get to do dumb stuff like this, which I am going to take this moment to make everyone put more lotion on their... It's time. Go lotion up. Everyone has to put more lotion on their elbows and also on their knuckles, because that is the time of the show it is. You guys, you subscribe, you hit that bell. Happy Black History Month. Ryan, I've got lotion for you too. You're not getting away with this with ashy elbows or knuckles.
Yeah, that ding sounded dry.
That ding sounded really dry. And look, it's dry in California. I wake up with nosebleeds every day now, so... Also, I've talked about this. I'm really excited about this. Y'all, we are doing a live movie fights right after the Oscars on February 9th, and I am so excited because I think it's going to be really fun. I think everyone's going to have a great time. I'm trying to get everyone to dress up nice, but I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll keep the AC on while we're here.
Oh, and hopefully they will keep the AC on, or at least just not pump in noxious fumes while we're doing it, because sometimes I think that they just I don't know if they're painting or what they're doing, but sometimes they just literally pump in stuff that I'm 90% sure is going to kill me someday.
Me doing my nails.
Your nails are so pretty, though.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't want to sacrifice their nails.
Nails are worth it.
So we've spent January, and we're going to definitely spend today sharing links where you can donate to help out with the Australian wildfires. So check out the links in the description. Those are still going to be on there. We'll be shouting out other stuff throughout the month, but that is definitely one that we want to continue to shout out. Joe, you can just get all that. And now we are going to talk about, let's get really fancy. And Ed, I'm really happy you wore your fancy button down, because we're talking about the BAFTAs. Segment 3, we're talking about the BAFTAs. You know I'm doing it a few times.
I know you are.
Joe also, I don't know if y'all know this, he produces these, so when he looks at me in just in utter disgust, it's like my favorite thing when I'm hosting. Please look at me like I'm messing up your show more.
This is not a show you can mess up.
Talking about the BAFTAs, there was an awards.
Oh, God.
One of my best friends is British. I'm sorry.
Are you daft to something?
It's February. I guess you can play that card.
One of my best friends is British. I'm just gonna. Oh God! I hear someone laughing from outside. It's so bad. Best film. 1918. What did you say?
Are you having a stroke? I
don't know. 1918.
Are you having a Welsh stroke?
Yes. Best director, Sam Mendes. Original screenplay went to Parasite. Adapted screenplay went to Jojo Rabbit. Leading actress, Renee Zellweger. Leading actor Joaquin Phoenix, supporting actress Laura Dern, supporting actor Brad Pitt, original score
Originus?
Also, you know they do pronounce hard J's.
Original score Joker.
I've never heard.
All right, Danielle Van Dyke.
like teenage Danielle Van Dyke.
Like, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Oh, God.
So the BAFTAs awarded some folks. Obviously, original screenplay, Parasite, amazing. They awarded some people that maybe, I wasn't super expecting. Or do any of these jump out to you as stuff where you were like, yes, I super agree, or like, maybe them Brits done got it wrong?
I don't know. I think it's
messing up your show.
I feel like I look at this list and I go, it's about what I expected.
Right.
From the British.
No, I don't think there's anything that's particularly surprising to me on this list, nor is there anything that I strongly disagree with. I mean, I'm still pulling for Parasite for Best Picture, but I'm not going to be surprised or mad if 1917 wins. And it did win Best Film at the BAFTAs because it's great filmmaking.
It really is.
Sam Mendes, I would not be surprised if he won Best Director. I have a feeling that going into the Oscars, it's going to be a split on Best Picture and Best Director. I think that if Sam Mendes wins Best Director, then Parasite might win Best Film, and then vice versa. So if 1917 wins, then Bong Joon-ho would win for Best Director. I'm very excited that Parasite won for Original Screenplay and that JoJo won for Adapted Screenplay. I think JoJo will win Adapted Screenplay, and it should. I'm sad that JoJo's kind of fallen out of, I think, the Best Picture conversation. I really don't think it will win, but that's another one that I'm like, I won't be mad if that wins. So we're dealing with a lot of. I mean, Dan had a whole rant on it here about how it is a small sampling of films in a really great year for film that got all of the nominations, and so things like your The Farewell or Dolomite, things like that got completely overlooked, or Honey Boy. Like, I think there were space for those, but unfortunately, instead of going, you know what, we've given enough nominations to Joker, okay? Like, we can agree. Like, Joaquin Phoenix, great, he's great in this movie. Like, I feel like there was more space in some of those other categories to bring some other things in. But as far as what actually ended up winning at the BAFTAs, nothing is shocking to me.
Yeah. No.
Right, and I do, like, this is kind of like boopity 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 boop, like right down the line of what, and the BAFTAs is, for those of you, and I apologize for my horrible British accent, the BAFTAs actually are really important. They are they're the English Oscars. They are really important, and they're important to pay attention to. Yeah, there's nothing on here that's super shocking, and I agree. I do wish that there had been, but that owes a lot to this kind of shortened award season now. And
I'm curious how the recency bias is too strong a word, because bias implies sort of a negativity. But I'm curious to see how like the recent boom around 1917 affects it at the Academy Awards.
What also came out like the latest? Like
well, that's what I'm saying. And
not that long ago, which is why we didn't see it, you guys.
It didn't even go into wide release until January.
Yeah, and so I think the conversation around it has been like, oh my God, there it is, the best picture. So I'm curious if that will play in its and this is not taking anything away from the fact that it is actually phenomenal and deserves to be nominated.
Yeah,
I'm just curious whether that sort of like, boom, new kid in town, I want to hang out with it and wear a leather jacket, or it's like, I've already had my mind made up, Parasite's my jam.
Well, and you see what they're doing with Parasite, where Parasite, they're doing this thing where they're like, hey, we also had special effects, because they've been promoting a lot of that online, where they're like, hey, like the house, a lot of that was all on a soundstage, and we had special effects too. We're also cool.
I think that with Parasite, though, too, we're seeing a little bit of a Rolling Stone effect of all of a sudden, like, people are going, oh, hey, Parasite was there, and now it's like rolling down the hill and gaining momentum and getting back into the conversation.
Right.
Hey, proud dad energy.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
This, hey, that. Hey, effects. Yeah.
Which is good because, again, I love Parasite. I think Parasite's the best film of the year of the ones that were nominated, certainly. But again, like, 1917 is a great movie. I really liked Ford vs. Ferrari. Like, there's really, again, like that dad corner of the universe. That's my jam.
Well, and Joaquin Phoenix had a great speech on this. I'm going to not do an accent. I'm going to read a little bit of it, but it was a very good speech.
It was a very good speech.
So you should look it up and actually watch him say it, but not right now, because don't click. I feel very honored and privileged to be here tonight. The BAFTAs have already been very supportive of my career. I'm deeply appreciative, but I have to say I also feel conflicted because so many of my fellow actors that are deserving don't have that same privilege. I think that we send a very clear message to people of color that you're not welcome here. I think that's the message that we're sending people that have contributed so much to our medium and our industry and ways we benefit of. And he continued, this was a great speech. Y'all should definitely, and Joaquin did an amazing job. But as the Joker, he did a great job. Like, he did amazing. So for him to give that moment and say, like, but also because, and me and Dan, we all talked about, like, how the Academy and other people, they don't, because the folks that did Parasite, like, don't speak, they didn't speak English. People are like, well, what? I don't know how I can judge that acting. And it's like, yeah, you can't. Because the SAG Awards did it very clearly, and
watch
they know.
anything else also that any of those actors have been in, and you will get a sense of how good they are.
Absolutely.
Right. And I just, I was really quiet during that segment because honestly, you guys are just making great points. I don't want to just put a hat on hats, you know?
Yeah. Just put hats on our hats.
No.
Belt and suspenders. Do it, babe.
But this part really is great to me because I remember that little kerfuffle I got in over being mean to the Joker. I was dismissive of it when they were talking about Best Picture. I just said nope and I crossed it off. And boy, everybody came out from under the bridge with a cup in their hand, being weird to me about that. And it was really brutal for a second. But I gotta say, Joaquin Phoenix, the one thing they were mad at me at was they didn't feel as though I gave up enough props to Joaquin. And I gotta say, right now, here's your moment. Because to you, so many people think about other people when they have a boot on their necks. Like when you got a boot on your neck, all of a sudden, yeah, man, it's time for justice. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's kind of what's wrong with the Joker. Like when this particular dude can't have the finest woman, the finest this, the finest that, and have a lineage of rich people and have privilege, all of a sudden the system's broke. All of a sudden we need to examine the mental health system because this particular type of person can't make it all of a sudden and has to ride the bus with a bunch of unwashed, as it were. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden the system's broken. So again, all I'm saying is you can manufacture a bunch of fake sympathy for a bunch of non-victims, or you can get up on that stage and get your award for the great performance you did and use that platform to help people, even though you're not presently being oppressed at all.
Which was the point of his speech.
Exactly, and then make that point in your greatest moment of glory.
Yes.
That's actual allyship.
Correct.
That's actually helping, if we're talking about just rhetoric as helping, because it's rhetoric directly to power, the power that's right there. You're not talking to an internet void. You're not talking to a video. You're talking to the people who make the decisions in the room.
And what he's saying also is, like, as you say, it's truly a definition of being an ally, of understanding inclusion, where he mentions, like, no one is asking for any handouts. What people are asking for is equal consideration. And right now, from an outside perspective, if you're not one of those people that are on the outside that are not being considered, it may look like, oh, you're giving preference to all of these people of color or these women. It's just finally giving those people an equal amount of consideration.
Oh, and last things last. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but like, Joker is a certain sort of person's...
This month you get to be a jerk about it?
Joker is a certain sort of person's nonsense.
Sorry.
You know, it's a certain sort of person's nonsense.
Sure.
It's a certain sort of person's perspective on things. Like, oh, this perspective is so valid because of all these different factors. Y'all can parse that out amongst yourself. You know what I'm talking about. You know why this particular person's downfall is so important and so striking to the Academy voters' hearts. All anybody else is asking is let somebody else's nonsense be up there. Let two dumb girls doing some dumb stuff and their pathos, like book smart is what I'm referring to. They're super smart, but they do a bunch of dumb stuff in the spirit of trying to be real children or real adolescents. You know what I mean? So let that nonsense stand with the clown college nonsense. The clown college assassin nonsense you want to exalt dumb little girls nonsense. Exalt, you know, I'm a certain sort of a guy in a certain sort of urban area and I can't express my sexuality. They did it. That was the great thing about Moonlight. Acknowledge that nonsense. Acknowledge other people's struggles. Everybody has different calibers of struggles. Everybody has different strata of struggles. Just please dignify. That's why Parasite is important. That's why Moonlight was important. That's why Booksmart and things like that are important. That's why all these things are important. Just acknowledge other people's goofiness and let those worlds live and let those be judged right alongside 1917 because your damn granddaddy died in the British this or that. And let them be acknowledged alongside Dunkirk. Jeez Louise.
Ed, my love, do you want to take us into, we're going to talk about black stuff now.
Okay.
We want to talk about I don't care.
We're going to talk about black stuff now. Okay.
Look, because Ed, you love Jackie Brown. So we're going to do something where this month, we're going to be cucks, and we're going to do we're going to spotlight black characters because it is Black History Month, and that's what we're doing. Yes, white people, take swigs of your drinks. Ed.
I just did.
What? You timed Joe into being racially insensitive.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God. We're going to Zapruder that.
I was going to say, I was also already taking a sip of my drink. Because I'm trying to hydrate.
In a lot of ways, white women are worse than white men.
It's so accurate.
But what we're going to do is we're going to highlight a black character, and it's going to be a thing that we do along with me making everyone put lotion on their elbows and on their knuckles. We're going to talk about black characters that we love. And Ed, I specifically wanted to, because I know you love Jackie Brown.
Right, I do.
I want to talk to you about Jackie Brown.
Okay, well, this is my thing. Now, again, I'm just a dumb old man. And I was watching Jackie Brown when it came out in the theater. I was a younger person then. That's how time works. And I was watching it, and even I was like, well, this isn't Pulp Fiction. I'm watching Jackie Brown, and I'm like, this isn't Pulp Fiction. Where's all the jumping around? Where's all the surface elements of Tarantino style that I understand because I'm a dunderhead teen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was the thing, right? And so I think that has seeped into the larger consciousness. Like, we've brought our inner dunderhead teens into some of our 30s and 40s, and I just don't understand, because Jackie Brown is a singular, beautiful event. Because not only does Quentin Tarantino use his beautiful like dialogue style, but tamp it down just a little bit to merge in a Curzon Dax Deep Space Nine-esque way, like it's on bonding. He bonds with Elmore Leonard's voice in a way that even Scott Frank in the Get Shorty situation didn't do. He bonds with Elmore Leonard's voice, and he creates this character. She was Jackie Burke in the book. She becomes Jackie Brown, a black woman in her 40s.
Well, and this was really like one of the first times that we saw Tarantino do the thing that we know him for now, which is like, I am paying homage to an era of like film or of television or of whatever that I loved. And this was, I mean, later he obviously goes full on in with a blaxploitation film, but this was him kind of dipping his toes and being like, oh, I'm gonna get Pam Grier. Oh, I'm gonna get, well, obviously, and we know Samuel L. Jackson now is like his his boy. But like that was him being like, I'm going to pay homage to a lot of these other actors. Robert Forster, oh my God.
Right, and so again, it's worth noting that yes, he dragged Travolta out of some sort of trash bin and made him a star again. All of a sudden, I got to watch Broken Arrow and Face Off. Yeah, I did.
Face Off,
I did. I was a John Woo kid, so I had to watch Broken Arrow and Face Off, and I don't think Travolta would have got either one of those roles without doing good at Pulp Fiction.
Not.
So that's Quentin Tarantino just as an egalitarian looking at all these old star actors and being like, you might have not gotten used in those exploitation movies properly. I'll bring you in. But Jackie Brown's a special case, right? A 44-year-old character don't get to be in movies anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then a 44-year-old woman who's black, who doesn't have kung fu skills out of nowhere, or scissor people's heads and throw them around,
or some sort of superpower, like some particular reason to be there. No, I agree with you. Like there's something. It was really unheard of for the time.
Right. And the thing is, and I'm, again, not trying to be too jerky, but like the original woman was a poor white woman who had to make a score. But this is a 44-year-old black woman who has one chance to get $500,000 after making $13,000 the last 10 years flying on Cabo Air. I'm sorry, the stakes are raised. The stakes are very much raised because that character is black and 44 years old. You know what I mean? And so to see this black woman, 44 years old, in a service job, outsmart the FBI, various and sundry criminal enterprises, murderers galore, and escape unscathed, that's Arthurian legend. That's Indiana Jonesian. That's all the heroes that, and again, all of us revere so much. A lot of these white guy heroes. She did something just as fantastic. And that's my earlier rant was only about asking us to look at some of these smaller stories from some of these people who are conquering something that is so monumentous.
Well, and even looking at something like a Jackie Brown and from the surface level of, it's Quentin Tarantino. It's very stylized and heightened as Tarantino does, but it is somebody's exact nonsense.
Yes.
It's somebody feels extremely represented by this film. A lot of people do.
And to tie it back to kind of what Joaquin Phoenix was saying and sort of what you were saying about Travolta and Broken Arrow, and welcome to my TED Talk on Broken Arrow. Joaquin said we have to really do the work to truly understand systemic racism. There's an obligation of the people who have created and perpetuated the benefit from a system of oppression they should be the ones that should dismantle it. That's on us. And that's not always going to be a simple or easy thing to do. You know, people go, dairy's bad. It's bad for the environment. Almond milk, cool. And then at some point you're like,
almond milk's
we pushed too far, or whatever.
Almond milk's also terrible.
Almond milk's real bad for the environment because there's only
you gotta do
like 2 almonds.
But you got to do the work, right? You just have to do. You have to do the work until we're not at that glorious post-racist society where it's like we don't even have a best actor or best actress category anymore. It's just like best person, man. And I think a great example of that is we look at John Travolta and we're like, oh man, the guy that did Saturday Night Fever, and now he's back and he's awesome, and we're giving him Broken Arrow. But we did not give that same narrative to the lady who did all those blaxploitation movies in the 70s, and now she's amazing in Jackie Brown, and now she is in Broken Arrow.
And
where was Pam Grier's Broken Arrow? Pam Grier's
didn't
awesome.
Get Broken Arrow.
Yeah,
but because for some reason there's not enough parts for the. And again, and this is my last hot take Sally thing. We're not even asking you to actually change society. We're not asking you to change the amount of Black or Latinx or whatever the hell CEOs in the world. That's not what we're asking at all. We're asking you to understand that there's a whole bunch of other people to make more money off of. If they feel more represented, they'll go watch your crap.
That's what we do. Look, Black Panther took all my black dollars. It took everyone's black dollars, and that's why we got to do a bunch of other stuff, was because it was like, we will give you our black dollars. If it's Tyler Perry makes trash nonsense. But what he knows is that our aunties will pay him all of our black dollars.
It's the bleakest, most Vince McMahon way to look at it. But breaking down that system will make people so much money. Like, it was such a blind spot that Michael J. White made Black Dynamite the best comedy of its decade. And then he had to kickstart his follow-up. Yeah. He had to kickstart his follow-up to Black Dynamite. Like, it's a failure of the system socially and financially. And no one was like, this is a cult. This is a huge cult classic. Boom. Yeah. Meanwhile, Wet Hot American Summer got 4 follow-up miniseries, and I love all of them.
Yeah, and I love them. And I know sports metaphors don't necessarily connect. I know Black Dynamite got a cartoon. Yeah, I know sports metaphors don't necessarily connect to the audience sometimes, but it's like the baseball leaving out a bunch of Negro League players and not making any money. You could have sold so much popcorn off of Josh Gibson hitting dingers and Satchel Paige throwing the ball. You know
Satchel Paige, man, you know what I'm saying? Come on.
You could have made so much money off of the guys, the black Afro guys that smoking cigarettes at halftime and were dunking like hell in the ABA days. Yeah. You could have made so much money off of them, but you were steady with
really
that.
Cool too.
Yeah, you're steady with that Bob Cousy ball for 20 years where you didn't have to. I'm not saying that Bob Cousy's not great, but I'm just saying, you stayed with that.
I just think too that this is illustrating a sort of false impression that has grown amongst studio executives or whoever basically is saying, yes, let's make this movie, let's put these people in this story and tell this kind of nonsense, is there's this misconception that, like, black people don't go to the movies or women don't go to the movies.
Or they don't sell overseas, which is totally ridiculous.
Right, it's totally ridiculous. And it's just because they haven't been given their fair chance to do so. It's like, there will be a million mediocre movies about some white male nonsense that do okay, and nobody's going, white men just aren't going to the movies. You know what I mean?
Because that couldn't possibly be so. Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. All right, thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you for the SJU whole crew, and obviously you, Emma, for like indulging me in that, because it's like it's been on my mind for a second.
Oh no, I know, and I wanted to hear all of it.
Just like these characters are propped up and lionized, and these other characters that conquer so much more. It's just come on, give them their equal due. Or close to it, and you'll make money.
My love, where can they hear more of your hot takes?
On the Nerd Goat Podcast, at Nerd Goat Podcast on Twitter, and at Greer Destroys on Twitter. And we did a reboot it recently. We rebooted Friday the 13th and the Skywalker Saga. How about that for hate mail?
I was going to ask
because you hate them.
Yeah, as a crossover.
Because you hate them wizards. Ooh, boy.
Jason has a machete, dark saber.
No.
It's nuts. No, we didn't do that. But yeah, so that's where you can check me out. And Emma?
I'm at Emma Fyffe all over the internet, wherever Emma Fyffes are sold.
Perfect. Joe, where can the people find you?
Just generally here.
Yeah, same.
Just like
every time everyone asks me, I'm like, I'm here, man.
It's mostly kind of here. Just mostly here.
We're just hanging out. You can find us in the writer's room. Don't come here.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
just call first. Also, you can follow us on at Screen Junkies U, which is our Twitter account. We have an official Twitter now. Ryan's giving me the thumbs up. Oh, and an Instagram. Is it also at Screen Junkies U?
Yep.
Tied.
Dang.
Find us on our Twitter. Find us on our Instagram. Thank you so much. Strap in. February is going to be really fun and full of blocked commenters. We love you all so much. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.